What is going on, good people? And man, we are now 2 weeks, well, 2 weeks and a day post overseeding. You can go back and check those videos out and see exactly how we did that process. But looking at the lawn, we have recovered well. The lawn is looking good. It is shaggy, so you know we got to take care of that. Well, we have reached what I like to call a decision point. We have to decide on a number of things to salvage that fall overseeding or renovation. So stick around in this video and we're going to cover all of those things that you need to be looking out for and deciding on, because you know it's fall, baby. You hear the leaves falling, see the leaves on the ground. It's all cool season from here. Let's go. All right, so we have got that mow in and whew, man, we are looking good back there. All right, so usually around that 2 week mark is when I want to make that first mow. The key to this is get on it, get off. The lawn will recover, it will be fine. It's a lot tougher than what you think it is. So leading up to deciding on making that first mow, allow the lawn to dry out a little bit. You've been watering frequently. There's a lot of ground moisture. Everything has been moist for long periods of time because that's what you needed for germination. I will not get out and water that day if I'm planning to cut on the first mow. The next thing is, before you make that first cut, make sure your blades are sharp. This is going to be key. You do not want to be cutting this brand new baby grass if you're doing a full renovation, or if you're doing an overseed, you're still going to be nipping the tips of this new grass. So make sure your blades are sharp. You can get a clean cut on it. This is going to be key. So as you can see from my overseed, 2 weeks in, I was on it. You can wait a little bit longer, especially if you're doing a renovation. Another gauge is going to be based off of your desired height of cut. So if you're looking for, say, a 2-inch height of cut, you can allow it to get a 1/2 inch to an inch higher than what your desired height of cut is, and then go out and cut it. So another benefit of making that first mow sooner, which I have been on lawns and made the first cut as quickly as a week and a half, and there were no issues. But what happened is the plants begin to tiller out a lot sooner and a lot quicker. So tillering is when a single plant begins to make multiple grass blades, and then that is what helps to fill in the lawn and make it a lot thicker and fill in the way that we're looking for. So don't be afraid to get out there and make that first mow when you think that it's ready. There's no rush, but those are some indications of when you can get out and make that first mow. All right, so we've got another decision to make. Well, this one really isn't a decision, it's just a go do it. So we want to start backing down off of the watering that we're going to be doing. The plants are going to have a hard life. It's not going to get water every day. It's not going to get water every couple of hours. So we want to start to prepare the plants for that life. So we want to switch to a watering cycle that is going to be less frequency but longer duration during each watering cycle. So that's going to more so stimulate and start to acclimate the plant to that lifestyle of how we're going to be watering. At this point, the plants do not have a very deep root system and it is still very shallow. So we want to keep that top layer of soil with adequate soil moisture in it where the root zone of those new plants are. So we got to start preparing them for it. So it's time to start backing down off of that water, because hey, water is not going to come every day. All right, so normally right around the 2 week mark is when it's time for me to make the decision of, am I gonna add more seed? So all seeds don't germinate at the same time. So I'm gonna be looking in those areas that are very thin or that are very bare, and make a determination of if I'm gonna add more seed. Look on the ground, see if there's still seed present in those areas that just hasn't come up yet. If there are no seeds in those areas, I like to grab the Scott's Wizz. This is a very easy tool to use, and go around and touch those areas up and adds a little additional seed. You don't want to go too thick with seed here because that's only going to cause problems for next year. So if those areas are really bare, I like to use the garden Weasel and make sure I incorporate that seed into the soil and it's just not laying on top of the soil. You can go back and check my previous video out that I made this fall that shows that process of how I like to do that. That keeps the seed protected, keeps it incorporated into the ground, and helps it to hold that moisture that we're going to be applying, and you should have germination in no time. All right, so the final thing that we got to do, it's about time to put down some more fert. Typically right around this period is when I want to put down some more fertilizer. The seed had everything that it needed to get started and germinated right there when you planted it in the ground. But now at this point, you got to help it out. Nitrogen is what it's going to be needing at this point, along with some phosphorus. If you don't have adequate phosphorus already in your soil, I like to go down with something that is going to be a little more quicker release from the nitrogen standpoint, not necessarily looking for anything that is going to be slow release. I wanted to go ahead and release, get into the soil so the new plants can take it up and go ahead and start thriving. So at the end of the day, this is going to be the process for salvaging your fall renovation or overseeding. Couple of simple tips that we can follow, and hey, at the end of the day, if things aren't working out, just make sure you evaluate if you've given your seed enough time to germinate, and if it hasn't, just toss a little bit more seed down and continue to water and get it filled in. All right, y'all, so that is going to wrap this one up, and if you're striving to have those immaculate lawns or gardens, just know we work.